In today's video, we're going to be comparing the Galaxy A16 5G to the brand new Moto G 2025 edition. Stay tuned. Alright everyone, hopefully you guys are having a good day. Hopefully everyone is safe out there. We have the Galaxy A16 5G on the left and the Moto G 2025 edition on the right side right here. Of course, you guys knew I was going to compare these devices. They are matched in price, both devices being $199 and both released at the tip of 2025. So excited about this. Let's go ahead and start off with some of the specifications. And of course, we're going to talk about my experiences with both these devices as well. Alright guys, starting off with the display on both these devices, they are both going to have a 6.7 inch display. Going over to the Galaxy A16 5G, we have a Full HD 1080p display on here with a 385 ppi, so a very decent pixel density on this device. Going over to the Moto G 2025 edition, this is only going to have an HD display, so 720p in 2025. I do not know why Motorola did this. I'm sure it was to keep the price down, I guess, but come on, 720p in 2025 is kind of crazy. And with that, we get a 262 ppi, so it's not the most pixel dense screen in the world. However, it still does look decent for the price tag. And of course, the Galaxy A16 5G is going to have a Super AMOLED display, and the Moto G 2025 edition is going to have an IPS LCD display. As for the refresh rate on both these devices, the Galaxy A16 5G is going to have a 90 Hz refresh rate, and the Moto G 2025 is going to have a 120 Hz refresh rate. So obviously, we have a better refresh rate on this device, but I'd say they're pretty matched. And overall, the display on the Galaxy A16 5G, because of that Super AMOLED display, it just looks much smoother and it looks much more refined and newer than the Moto G 2025 edition. Not to mention the screen to body ratio is better on the Galaxy A16. As you guys can see, we are going to have an 86% screen to body ratio, and on the Moto G 2025, we're going to have an 84.96, so basically an 85% screen to body ratio on this device. So it's not too much of a difference, but there is a difference right there. Now, which one has the better display? That's going to go over the Galaxy A16 5G. I know that this doesn't have a 120 Hz refresh rate, but overall, this seems like a much smoother device, and it just looks much better with that Super AMOLED display. And again, a lot of you are not going to care too much about the display. For a lot of people that like the IPS LCD displays, I know you're going to save battery life on there. So yeah, you may want to go with the Moto G 2025 edition, but as far as which one looks the best, that's the Galaxy A16. Another cool addition to the Moto G 2025 as well is we actually do have Corning Gorilla Glass 3 on this device. Alright guys, so next, getting into the internals on these devices, the Galaxy A16 5G is going to have an Exynos 1330 chipset inside of it, and the Moto G 2025 edition is going to have the MediaTek Dimensity 6300. Both devices have 4 GB of RAM, both have 128 GB of internal storage, and both can expand their storage via microSD card. As for the operating systems, the Moto G 2025 edition released with Android 15, so we have the latest software on this device, and the Galaxy A16 5G released with Android 14. However, the Galaxy A16 is going to have 6 years of major operating system updates, and the Moto G 2025 edition is going to have 2 years of operating system updates, plus 3 years of bi-monthly security patches, which honestly is not too shabby. But for the people who want to have a device for more than 5 years, obviously the Galaxy A16 is going to cover you more so with that. But it's great to see that the Motorola device is already rocking Android 15, so that bumps one of the updates off of the Galaxy A16 even mattering. Now, in terms of the processors on both these phones, they are going to be very, very matched right here, so it's not going to be the biggest difference in the world. The pros of the Exynos 1330 we see on the Galaxy A15 is it does support 200% higher memory bandwidth. It also has a smaller size transistor, so it's a 5nm instead of a 6, and it does show a better score overall on our Antutu bench score from 438,000 compared to 422,000. However, the Moto G 2025 edition is actually going to have the better GPU inside of it. So we do have a higher GPU frequency with a MediaTek Dimensity 6300, so about 13% better, which means that of course you're going to have maybe a few less skip frames, but overall this is going to be a very matched chipset in both these devices. Now, going into the batteries on these devices, both batteries in these devices are 5,000 milliamps. They do support fast charging. However, the Moto G 2025 is actually going to have a 30-watt fast charging experience compared to the Galaxy A16's 25-watt fast charging experience. And overall, which one has the better battery life? I'd have to say the Moto G 2025 edition. Partially is due to the display on this, but also the processor. We have a really decent battery life on this. We're probably going to get a day and a half realistically with most users. If you are a heavy user, you may kill this in a day. I don't know how heavy of a user you are, but you would have to be on your phone the entire day to kill this device. So we're looking at about 8 hours estimated battery life on the Moto G 2025 edition and about 6.5 hours on the Galaxy A16 5G. So if you guys want the bigger battery or the more efficient battery, the Moto G 2025 edition may be the phone for you. All right, guys, so getting into the fun stuff on both these devices and starting off with the Galaxy A16 first, we have a triple camera setup right here. Our main camera is going to be a 50 megapixel autofocus camera. Our secondary is going to be a 5 megapixel ultra wide. And of course, our third is going to be a 2 megapixel macro, the camera that no one cares about. For our Moto G 2025 edition, we have a dual camera setup, as you guys can see right here. Our main camera is going to be a 50 megapixel camera, and our secondary is going to be a 2 megapixel camera on here. So no ultra wide camera on here. I was hoping for that instead of the macro camera that we got in here. But overall, the cameras on here are decent, especially for the $200 price tag. I'll give you guys a little bit of a comparison right now. However, I am going to do a full comparison later on. I'd have to say the Galaxy A16 5G is the better camera, especially with the rear camera on the back right here. We are going to get a lot more natural colors. We're going to get a lot more clarity. And most importantly, the skin tones and the colors, it's going to be more true to life on the Galaxy A16 5G. On the Moto G 2025 edition, it doesn't look bad. Okay, let me say this phone camera doesn't look bad, and especially for $200, it really does not look bad. However, it is so unnatural and so artificial the way these photos are processed, that I would just have to give it to the Galaxy A16 5G. Your skin tones are going to be much more accurate. What you're taking a picture of is going to be much more color accurate. The Moto G 2025 edition just makes things extremely bright, extremely contrasty, just super unnatural. And you may like that, honestly, and you may just go with this device and you may not care. But I would say the better camera overall, or the more powerful camera, has to go to the Galaxy A16 5G. I'll do a future video on this, on the full comparison, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I just want to go ahead and note that the camera on the Galaxy A16 5G is going to be a more well-rounded camera. Alright guys, so as far as the last few things I want to take a look at, both these devices are going to have NFC inside of them. The Moto G 2025 edition is going to have a headphone jack. The Galaxy A16 does not, so if that's a make or break thing for you, go with the Moto G 2025 edition. And overall, the build and quality of the build, like as far as the materials and stuff like that, I'd say the Moto G 2025 edition looks better, it feels better, and it's much more dapper and sexy. I just feel it has an edge over the Galaxy A16 5G. This is all up to you though. This is all opinion based, but I think the Moto G 2025 edition looks better and feels better. The Galaxy A16 5G is just complete plastic. However, it doesn't feel bad and it doesn't look bad either. I really do like how this looks. I just think the Moto G 2025 edition looks and feels better. I love the pleather back on this device, and I think it really created a decently well-rounded budget phone. It honestly brought it all together on here. The other thing that we're going to receive on the Moto G 2025 edition is Moto Actions. So of course you got the twist to open up the camera, you You got the chop for flashlight. You have a bunch of other stuff to do screenshots and shortcuts and stuff like that. So if you guys are more accustomed to the Motorola, lifestyle, like Moto actions and things like that, and all those different customizations that Motorola brings, and you guys want a little bit more of a stock Android device, the Motorola device is probably going to be your best bet. But overall, I would say the more well-rounded phone is going to be the Galaxy A16 5G. But let me know in the comment section down below what device you would like to pick up if you were deciding between both these devices. I honestly just like the Galaxy A16 5G over this device. I feel like it has a better display, and that's super important to me, but it also has a more well-rounded camera. It's very, very natural the way we take photos and videos on this. Stabilization is great as well, and it's a lot less processed than the photos and videos that we receive on the Motorola device right here. But overall, both these devices are great devices. I just have to say the Galaxy A16 is my favor over the Moto G 2025 edition. And again, let me know in the comment section down below which device you think won. But this was the Galaxy A16 5G versus the Moto G 2025 edition. If you enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like button. Also, make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. This has been Safan from TechRight. Peace out, Tech Gang.